Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition battle report for the channel. Today in this 350 rep match, a Batman crew is going up against the Joker crew, so it's the classic matchup featuring some of the newest releases as well as one of the new skins, which we'll talk about in a second. So here is the 6 miniatures in the Batman crew being led by the new Gotham King Batman, which was gifted to me as compensation by Night Models. So it's not sponsored or anything like that, but I feel like I just have to declare that I did get given this. And he is a skin that you can use in place of any Batman. Now today he's being in place of the 80th anniversary Batman, which I believe to date is the only Batman who's on the leader size base, which he is on, this skin is on. But you can use him in place of any other that you want, which does have advantages and disadvantages. It makes your Inspire range better because you measure from the base, but might have trouble fitting on scenery or in alleyways, etc. And I don't think we've used the 80th anniversary Batman, which is, you know, the huge one that's swooping down on like the cloud of bats, since he was changed and rebalanced for 3rd edition and given 2 different upgrades you have to pick between, which give you a bunch of different benefits based around either stealth and just doing well, or being kind of like a team player. And we're going to be using the team player upgrade today, which is called the Leader, which gives him access to 3 new roles: I'm a Symbol, Investigator, and Stay in Formation. Well, Stay in Formation is an old role, but it makes him, kind of went Batman angle there because I was looking at the app to remind myself, kind of makes him more of a team player. He's going to be not charging off on his own, he wants to be around his team. And on that note, he's joined by the 3rd edition Commissioner Gordon, the 3 elite SWATs, who can all come because Gordon has the elite SWAT boss role, and Merkel, just to fill out the rest. Other upgrades wise, Batman also has the upgraded Batsuit for +1 health, so I think that puts him at 9, yeah. Larida has a magazine and patrol training, so an extra load of rounds for that very scary gun, and can deploy up to 8 outside of deployment. And Merkel's got a radio. Simple as that. And that's all there is. And here is the Joker crew being led by the new Titan Joker. That is the actual model this time. We have seen his rules once before already using the old miniature, but now it's his rules with the proper new one fully painted. So we'll be giving him a go today to see how he does again. His free agent is going to be the Arkham Asylum Killer Croc, the new version, and that means they also get an extra sewer marker that's already been set up in advance, and has a bunch of rules about attacking to and from sewers. He loves just jumping in, jumping out, which is very thematic with how he is in the boss fight in the video game. Punchline is the sidekick. Then we have Gaggy next to Hobo Clown. Hobo Clown's on the far left there. We have Thug 4, sorry, from the Back to Gotham box on the far right there, and then just 2 out of the 3 of the Joker's victims. This is Joker Victim 1 and 3. Didn't have room to fit in number 2, I guess. And upgrades wise, Joker's got enhanced gas. Hobo Clown has been given a lot of kit for how very low pointed he is. He's got clown paint and a grapple gun, so we'll see if he gets to use those. Gaggy has poison training in Joker's gas, so he can do poison gas AoE and it's even stronger. And the Thug 4 with his axe there has been given neurotropic drugs, which is just +2 movement now these days after the change to fast, and then also a dodge roll in case Lorida decides to try and murder him. So we are all set up and good to go. The Batman crew is on your right and the Joker crew is on your left. I bet you thought the Batman crew would be on the left just because that's where the Batmobile was, but no. It was to their tactical advantage to steal some high ground and have Lorida safe. There was potential for more out of deployment zone movement than there was. The only one it ended up being was Killer Croc can start in base to base with any sewer marker for the game. He's opted to be rather dangerous in the middle of the table. Lorida didn't really take advantage. I guess they could have been like a little bit forwards because of undercover, but doesn't really need to be. Just wants to have the high ground and kind of keep an eye on this alley here. So we can get a quick look at who has Audacity. Lorida does, Batman does, Foxtrot does. I just realised I never even said their names. That's Foxtrot, I believe, and the other one is unknown. I don't remember his name offhand, but he's next to Merkel as well, and Gordon's got Audacity. If we come over here, I can see the card actually, and remind myself it's Foxtrot and Sierra. Sierra is the one with the taser actually. The one with the shield is Foxtrot. So Joker's crew is basically in a big old line. Gaggy's got Audacity, Hobo Clown does, which is really weird. Punchline does, and Joker himself does, but keep in mind their henchmen all have Trickster thanks to Joker with Chaos Agent, so it's just an indication of intent. It can be switched around, so for instance he could steal it from Hobo Clown. Can't steal it from Sidekicks though. So there is no additional cards being played. Actually, you know what? Totally forgot that it might be a good idea to give Killer Croc Audacity. But at the same time, he has some free actions he can do, which is to his specialty, which is jumping between sewers. So we might see him do some fancy stuff without, we'll see. But there's no cards being played by either side in Phase 1 or Phase 2, so we're just jumping straight into Battle Round 1. And the Batman crew does have passes, if they choose to use them. So the Batman crew did use a pass to get the game started, so we have to come over here to the Joker crew, who activated Thug 4. Without Audacity, he just moved up and then used his boss's Inspire to put down a suspect marker, except it was not a suspect marker. It was a classic turn 1 play by Joker's crew. It was a turn 1 Stinky Fish with It Doesn't Look Fresh. So that will score at the end of the round, unless someone is willing to be poisoned in order to remove it. The second and last pass was used by the Batman crew, so Genki activated. His aggressive schizophrenia didn't kick in because he wasn't base to base with anybody. He moved up and put down a suspect marker. He had Audacity, but it was kind of wasted. But it became Explosive Teeth with Bite the Dust. A 4 was rolled, so it's going to move d6 towards every person as they activate. And when it explodes, it hits everybody. They suffer 1 damage. Friend or foe, as long as at least one person is damaged, this will score. He did have to put it on his far side, just so it was over 4 inches from the Stinky Fish, which makes it a little bit more annoying trying to get into the back line. But again, as long as it hits someone, it will score for 2. So it was time for the Batman crew to activate, and it was Officer Merkel who activated without Audacity. He decided rather to go a little wander up here into the edge of the table. You'll notice a numeric 4 next to him there. That is so that they can put in wait for backup, or put it into play rather. So you do it during the activation of a model with the cop trait. 1d6 plus 1, a 3 was rolled. You pick a table edge, obviously the one he just moved next to. At the end of every subsequent activation it counts down. If he's still within 4 of that edge and not dead or knocked out, it will score for 2. Pretty good chance of it with how far away he is from danger. Like even Killer Croc can't reach him, Hobo Clown with his grapple gun can't get into range, so he's probably fine. The Explosive Teeth then moved 2 inches towards him. Joker's Victim 1 was the next up for Joker's crew. Without Audacity, they're also stupid, so they can't do manipulates or anything like that. If they go into base to base with their closest target, when they activate, they would get a free attack, but as it is, he simply just moved up his 8 inches, and this was to try and get the teeth over kind of this end of the table. Unfortunately, the dice was stuck on 2, so it moved 2 more inches towards him and got that far, which isn't exactly great. Well, being a little risky and taking advantage of the Joker's Victim moving into range, well, sort of moving into range, he deliberately was just outside of 12, so Lorida activated, dropped down, it was a safe distance based on movement, suffered impaired movement, moved up a little bit just so that the Joker's Victim was within 12, shot with Assault and a red dot, so just -1 to hit with 1 reroll, against defense 2, so really it was 3s across the board. Not surprisingly, 3 hits got through for 6, which does just remove them. Even if they get KO'd, they just get casualtied as a result because they're weird zombie things, and it scores Catch a Bullet for 1. Not one you would usually see in a Batman deck, but it was there, and it was an easy score. It's the first actual score. I've totally forgot the teeth haven't moved towards Lorida yet, so they're going to be moving. Oh, it's not a 2! So they're going to be moved 3 inches diagonally, roughly this way. So in order to facilitate the Bite the Dust scoring, Punchline activated, she ran forwards 13 inches, and then she made use of her fast 3 to move not even the full 3 inches, just to get her into base to base with the sewer marker there, and also to put her within 8 inches of Gordon and Foxtrot here to chuck some poison throwing knives. They both have bulletproof vests, but the shield adds cover for Foxtrot, so she opted for Gordon, managed to thunk 1 into him, all said and done, which did 1 blood and poisoned him. The teeth then moved towards her 4 inches, which means they overshot her slightly, and exploded, dealing 1 damage to her, but also scoring the Bite the Dust. And also at this point, the wait for backup ticks down to 0, and has also scored for 2. So King Batman decided to activate, just looking like a boss in his chair. So again, we're using the 8th anniversary Batman for him, so he moved forwards his 10 inches, didn't need to use his grapple to get where he wanted to be, he just wanted to chuck some batarangs into Killer Croc, because Killer Croc could not see him, which means the fact that some damage got through scores They Won't See Me Coming for 1 point. However, I should point out, 2 of those go away because Killer Croc is huge and he ignores 2 stun per attack. Now this is where some of Killer Croc's fancy rules, this version of Killer Croc's fancy rules come into effect, and it seems like that both of these things are going to be possible. One definitely is because it's a reaction. The other one, maybe not. So he has a couple of rules. We have his printed out card here. So he's going to make use of his once per round, not per turn, per entire battle round. Sewer Retreat. Once per round after resolving an enemy attack action that targeted this model and he's not suffering KO or dead, you can target a sewer marker within 4 and place him within another marker anywhere on the table. So it's like the end of the video game. He's taking damage, so he's like, I'm out of here. He is vanishing. So for instance, say he decided to pop up right here, back where Batman was, in base to base, with poor Sierra there. Is he then allowed to make use of one of his other rules called Sewer Assault? When this model uses a sewer marker, it may immediately perform a manipulate action to reveal or place a suspect marker, or perform an attack. This model may not repeat the same tactical action per round. Thanks to it specifying per round tactical action, that seems to me like he can do an out-of-sequence attack. It's just that when he does eventually activate, he can't do another one. So we're going to go resolve that now. And if that is done correctly, that makes him a real nasty piece of work. Alright, so here is the results of that out-of-sequence attack. So remember, this is all happening during Batman's turn. Killer Croc still has an activation without Audacity. He wasn't hitting as hard as he possibly could, because if it was his turn, he can do a special action called Sewer Assault, I think it is, which gives him 2 free efforts and +1 to his dice rolls. It's something like that. But either way, he still did really well. He attacks with Massive Claws. They do blood stun, but they're devastating and crushing, so 2 strength dice, and you need 2 successful blocks to block a single hit. So poor Sierra, who did not effort, neither did Killer Croc. That is the one major disadvantage of this version of Killer Croc. He only has 7 willpower and he already lost 4 of it to Batman, so he's close to being knocked out, so that's his massive weakness. But he hit good. He did 5 blood, 5 stun, which is not enough to kill Sierra. He's alive on 1 health, but it was enough to take away all his willpower, so he is unconscious and will not be getting a turn, so I guess there's no point keeping that there for now. So he ain't getting a turn. And again, that was Batman's turn, so it's over to Joker. So for Joker's crew activation, we're going to stick with Killer Croc, because with a combination of his Lord of the Sewers and Amphibious, he does not need to spend a manipulate to use a sewer. So he did a movement action, and once per game he can do a movement action beginning or during in which he interacts with the sewer grating. He can keep moving. So he moved himself through the sewers out to Punchline here, and then just went full charge into Gordon. Now he can't do anything. Even if he had Audacity, he still wouldn't be able to attack because he already did it this round. But he's now tying up Gordon and giving them something to worry about over there. No cards played, but that is definitely the fun side of using that Killer Croc for sure. His low willpower is a massive disadvantage, although he has huge to counter that somewhat. But he has some fun rules. Well, in order to counteract the Killer Croc play there, Gordon activated and made use of his once per game bat signal, where he can teleport, as long as they're conscious, Batman into base-to-base contact. He counts as eliminated for the turn as well, but that's not really going to matter because Joker's crew has no guns. So Batman has been teleported in his Batcomputer chair into base-to-base contact. Oh, did forget the poison token there. Gordon is poisoned. That could be important at the end of the turn. Let's put him there. But before he left, because he did eventually move away, he shot his gun point blank range into Killer Croc. It's got light, so he can do that in close combat. It did 2 blood, 2 stun. The 2 stun is ignored by his huge. So all he really did was tickle his 13 health for 2 blood. Could have been better. Well, the monstrous hopped up on Titan. Joker activated, moved forwards 10 inches, is very quick, and then put down a suspect marker, which has become another set of explosive teeth, and a 4 got rolled for it. So it can carry between rounds because there isn't enough activations left in this round. And then for a special action, since there wasn't really anyone in range to make use of Lunatic Laugh, he did a super jump. So he bounced 6 inches and slammed down in front of Larita. That has got to be intimidating. Well, thanks to Sierra getting knocked out and almost killed by Killer Croc, the last activation of the turn for the Batman crew was Foxtrot with the shield. He moved over here his full distance without Audacity, but thanks to Batman being teleported over there, he had his free inspired manipulate. So he put down a suspect marker that's been carefully positioned. It's outside of the 8+2 from deployment, it's outside of 4 of Joker, and should be outside of the maximum of Hobo Clown's range with a grapple gun, that he can't get within 4 of it either, which will mean that at the end of the round, a snitch will score if that's all been measured out correctly. We'll see. The teeth then waddled towards him for a single inch. So Joker's crew had 2 activations left in the turn, and we're going to cover those now. One of them was the other Joker's victim, who obviously can't do much, so he just went forwards 8 inches. the Teeth then moved 1 inch towards him. Then Hoboclown activated. Sure enough, even with the grapple gun, he would not be able to get within 4 inches of the Snitch, so he opted not to use it this turn. Instead just moved there, and the Teeth moved 1 inch towards him. Did the same die roll 3 1s in a row for the Teeth? Yes it did. So it will explode after the first activation of Battle Round 2. So with that, we can go to the recovery setup, stage rather, for turn 1. So at the end of a super eventful Battle Round 1, here's how things stand. Gordon passed his poison check, so he did not take any additional damage, but massively, Sierra did not wake up. So Sierra, all these SWAT team, Elite SWAT, are very expensive units, so having him not be able to do anything thanks to Killer Croc really hurts. So he's not waking up and will not be getting a turn in Battle Round 2. There's no Phase 4 cards being played, but we can cover the cards in play. It doesn't look fresh. Scores for 2 for the Joker, because the fish was unmolested for the turn, and the Snitch also scores for the Batman crew, scoring them for 3. The Explosive Teeth are still in play for 1 more activation, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think that is it. So with that, into Battle Round 2's setup. So here's as things stand with the setup for Battle Round 2 done. Joker's crew has snatched first activation, which could be really important. Let's take a look at who has Audacity real quick. Loretta does for the Batman crew, so does Gordon, Batman himself, and remember Merkel hidden all the way up there. Joker has it for his crew, Hoboclown does again, Punchline does, and Killer Croc does. There is 3 cards being played, 2 Phase 1s and a Phase 2, all by Joker's crew. They were holding on to a lot of cards for this turn. So first of all, simple enough, let's dance. So if Punchline or Killer Croc or the Joker himself get hit this turn, it scores for 2. They are also playing Joker's unique Showtime. There's only 1 enemy suspect marker. The Batman crew wasn't really focusing on suspect markers there. So it did get drawn in, and 1d3 plus 2 has equal to 3. So that's going to count down on each subsequent activation. If it hits 0 and it's still in base to base with the Joker, this scores for a massive 3. And they're also putting the Psychopaths into play, because of course they are. So this will count up deaths compared to suspect marker placements, and if there's more markers for kills on this by the end of the turn, it will score for 3 as well. So this could be a really high scoring turn for Joker, and again, that Teeth is about to resolve with whoever Joker decides to activate. So to get Battle Round 2 started, Joker selected Killer Croc. It was a bit of a toss up with who to activate. Figured he would be the best one to make Batman have to chase him. He ran down here to finish off Sierra and didn't bother putting damage markers down. Sierra's counting his defense 2 right now. Killer Croc would be rolling 7 dice because he rolls 2 strength dice, and he would just need 2 of them to not be 1s to get enough damage. Actually, no, he would just need 1 of them to be not a 1 to get the kill. So Sierra is dead. That puts 1 on Psychopaths. It also means Cannibal kicks in, so he can heal 2 damage. He's chosen to heal 2 stun because he's very tanky blood-wise, and the Batman crew doesn't really focus on that. The Teeth then move towards him 3 inches, I believe it was, which puts them right there, but sadly that was not quite enough, so it has caught no one. So the Bite the Dust is discarded and doesn't score, but Sierra, he didn't even get to play the game. Well, first up for the Batman crew was Loretta, because Joker was kind of staring them down. From where they started their turn, they could see the Joker's victim and was within 12, so second round of ammo for the game, unloaded into them, but the blood damage it would normally do was converted to stun, thanks to non-lethal ammo, which would just be enough to knock out the victim. They're 3/3 miniature, so they're in defense 2. But if they are KO'd, they are counted as a casualty, which unfortunately does put another marker on Psychopath. What a shame. Loretta then ran away very bravely down here to try and get away from Joker. A super simple activation for Joker's crew. Gaggy activated without Audacity. Didn't steal it from anybody, just put down a suspect marker that has become the 3rd final... Oh, actually, it might not be the final one because 1 didn't score, so it was discarded. But it is the 3rd Explosive Teeth, and a 6 was rolled, so it's going to be bouncing around the table for a little while. Oh, and with the completion of Gaggy's turn, Showtime ticks down to 0 and has now scored for a massive 3. Well, Batman the boss decided to activate and rip a band-aid off, so to speak. He went after Killer Croc, used 1 effort, which you can see there, to put in some extra dice, knowing that Killer Croc wouldn't want to against his double stun. All in all, 8 got through. 2 of that is ignored, however, from his huge, but he still had 1 stun left on him, even after healing 1 at the turn crossover and healing 2 from eating Sierra, so that does mean it's exactly enough that Killer Croc is knocked down. Now, knockouts count on Psychopaths, which is always something I forget. So that's another take on that. Let's Dance scores, because free agents being damaged is a scoring criteria for it, but lessens the blow somewhat that They Will No Pain scores for the Batman crew, because Batman did at least 6 damage. So technically they only got up on them by 1, and Killer Croc being knocked out is pretty handy, just to get rid of that threat, because he was just going after all the SWAT people and eating them. Oh, did forget to mention, but the explosive teeth moved towards Batman 4 inches. Hobo Clown activated once again, did not make use of his grapple gun, just simply moved up and put down a suspect marker, which has become the second stinky fish of the game, with it doesn't look fresh. Just trying to keep options open and cover the spread points wise. Of course, also, once again, forgetting to mention the explosive teeth, they moved towards Hobo Clown by 3, I think it was, and are where you can see them there, with 4 more moves left. Commissioner Gordon activated for the Batman crew, and this time, covering the teeth first, they moved to where you can see them, right next to Punchline, who is the target that Gordon shot at. She has Acrobat, so she dodged 2 of the shots, and of the 2 you had left, because his gun is base rate of fire 3, 1 got through for 1 blood, 1 stun. With hindsight, she maybe should have dodged all 3. Didn't expect him to get through her defense 4, but there you go. So then Gordon moved over here into base to base with Killer Croc, and this Killer Croc is not immune to arrest, so he is being arrested and is off the table now. That makes him count as a casualty, which has also put another 1 on Psychopaths, but there wasn't any chance of that not scoring anyway. So Punchline activated after being shot by Gordon, but didn't go after him because she had other targets. She went over here, so she had line of sight on Foxtrot here, and chucked the last of her throwing knives, I believe, at him, losing 1 to his bulletproof vest, losing 1 to the cover he always has thanks to the shield being protective. So she basically just had the 1 die, but it needed a 3+, so played the odds. Got him, just does 1 blood, and has poisoned him. Didn't score anything on that, and then the explosive teeth moved towards her a massive 6 inches. So it is very much in the mix there, with 2 turns left to move. So I think everybody was forgetting about Merkel over here in the corner. He put down a suspect marker outside of the safe area from his deployment zone, turned it into a snitch, and then went a little wonder. He had a radio, and he also had a Audacity, because who else is going to use it? So he just moved, and isn't doing anything else with his turn. The teeth moved 4 inches towards him, and now when either Thug 4 or Joker activates, the teeth will move and explode. Joker activated and ran into Foxtrot, hoping to take him out now that he's poisoned. He only efforted the once, because his willpower ain't great either, but he would heal that at the end of the turn, obviously. Foxtrot was getting +1 to his defense rolls. He was rolling 1 less defense die though, because Joker used Lunatic Laugh, which is an 8-inch aura, 1 less defense die for a special action. But his attack roll was quite bad. He was rolling 2 strength dice because it's devastating. It was 2 1s. He used his luck, which is a once per round reroll, to reroll 1 of them to get it through, but it wasn't a crit, so no bleed. So all said and done, he only did 2 blood, 2 stun, which is not great, and keeps Foxtrot on his feet. The teeth finally activated, moved 5 inches towards Joker, puts them where you can see them, and with that roughly over the middle, should be able to tell, it is not reaching Punchline, it's not reaching anyone, so that is discarded, so no points scored there. So Foxtrot himself was the final activation for the Batman crew this turn. He hopped over the little barrier there in order to get into base to base with the Stinky Fish next to Hobo Clown, and thanks to Batman being close, he had a free manipulate from the Inspire radius, which he used to remove it, which means his poison is going to be poison 2 now, but he scores a comb through everything for removing an enemy suspect marker, which also means the It Doesn't Look Fresh is discarded. And we can just real quickly cover Joker's final activation as well, because it's relevant compared to what that happened. The Thug over here activated without any Audacity, just moved up. So that's that done. So we will go into the cleanup for Battle Round 2 now. So at the end of Battle Round 2, everyone who's conscious has healed 1 stun damage, and our 2 poisoned cops, Gordon and Foxtrot, they both passed their rolls, so no damage done there. The cards in play though, Psychopaths scores massively easily with how many knockouts and casualties there was that turn. There's not that many models compared to how many there were at the start left on the table. And the Snitch also scores that Merkel put down on the corner of the table. He's been getting work done, just hiding over there. No additional cards being played by either side though, and Sierra was the only unconscious one, and they're gone, eaten. So with that, we can go into Battle Round 3. And here's the board state at the top of turn 3, the penultimate round. And there is cards being played, but let's cover who has Audacity first. Lorita down here, who does have 1 load of ammo left, thanks to the extra ammo purchased. We've got Foxtrot with Audacity, Gordon and Batman. Only Mirko doesn't, but Mirko has a radio, so they should still be able to get something done. Gaggy up there in the top corner for Joker's crew, Punchline, Joker himself, and Hobo Clown, who I'm sure will use that grapple gun one day, Kif. I'll have Audacity. The Thug does not. And the one card being put into play is Unveiling the Truth. A bit late in the game for that, but it is being played, and is being played on Batman. So, can he take that? Friendly World, yeah, he has Detective, so it can be played on him. So, that's on Batman, and it is the Batman crew who is acting first, unless they choose to use... Actually, do they still have a pass? Oh, they don't have a pass anymore. It's even, so never mind. So Batman got things started for his crew this turn. He was probably tempted to go after the Joker there, but opted instead to just move his 10 inches all the way over here, which then means, thanks to his detective trait, meaning he can interact with suspect markers within 3, he can remove this stinky fish, former stinky fish. It still poisons him though, just doesn't score anything, or, you know, discards the card because it's not in play anymore. So he still gets poisoned, but that immediately puts 2 markers on Unveiling the Truth, and it is the only Joker or suspect marker down because they've all been explosive teeth and fish and whatnot. So it immediately scores for 2. So he did that, and he didn't use his grapple gun this turn, which means he still has that for the final one, so he can hopefully set up some things to do then. Well, Hobo Clown activated, and he had one simple job: do 2 blood damage to Foxtrot. He went all in, he made the effort, he put in 3, Foxtrot put in 2, which was the most he could do thanks to the damage he sustained, because he had 3 blood sitting on him. But, didn't do so well with the attack dice. Defense dice, thanks to him having that +1, he basically just needed 2s. So only 1 got through, and Foxtrot is very much alive. Unfortunately for Hobo Clown, he'll pay for that later. Well, Foxtrot initiated the run like a chicken strat, because he's very close to death. Although, to be fair, he ran towards the enemy deployment. He rushed 10 inches down here, and in an effort to try and do something with his turn, put down a snitch. Joker might be able to get within 4 of that, and within 2 of him, which he has reached 2 in his claws. So it might be all for naught, but we shall see. The Joker crew is suddenly falling apart with being able to do anything. Punchline activated and went after Gordon, used as a special action to Sky Sneak Attack to try and deny him the ability to even defend himself. And she failed the opposed willpower check. So she had to just attack normally. She went all in with 3 efforts. Gordon went in with all 3 efforts as well. And all said and done, only 1 stab with her knife got through. He's up to poison 2 now, but still very far from death. Well, despite having no ammo left, Gordon's retribution was swift. He just broke out his fists and started throwing hands with Punchline, doing single stun. Didn't bother putting any markers down or rolling her defense because the strength die got through on a 5+, which is what his strength is. So he only needed to do 1 stun to knock her out, thanks to the self-imposed willpower damage. And then he arrested her. So Punchline is out of there. Didn't score anything on it, but did teach her a lesson. And then he ran away from Joker 10 inches over, or 8 inches, however much, ran away over there. That's bad. Well, Mr. J decided it was time for him to step up and do something. He moved back 10 inches and then used a super action to do super jump to just crash down on poor Foxtrot here. Only bothered rolling his 2+ strength die because he just needed to do 1 blood when he does blood stun. So that one went through, and Foxtrot is deceased. And because he killed a poisoned unit, he scored seasoning the mix for 2, and thanks for being right next to that snitch, has denied that scoring unless he somehow gets murdered, which is impossible even if Sierra did Larita did max damage. So yeah, he's cancelled it. Well, that's a bit of retaliation for that, which ended up backfiring as well. Merkel activated and unloaded his non-lethal shotgun into Thug 3 here. Got 6 stun through, knocked him out, but that triggered "You're expendable" for taking out a model with the Trickster trait, which Joker gives him, and pays out for 1 point. Last activation in the penultimate turn for Batman was Larita using the last of their ammo after they ran forwards here, making use of Assault plus the red dot for a single reroll, to shoot Hobo Clown in the side of the head for 6 blood. I think he has 4 health, right? Yeah. So for no reason, they have murdered the poor Hobo Clown. Didn't even have the other non-lethal ammo just to knock him out. So, but there's an activation removed for the final turn, I suppose. So it's over to Gaggy to end off the turn entirely. Well, Gaggy had a simple turn. He simply put down a stinky fish because one of them came back into hand, and that just scores because it's the end of the turn, so it's scoring for 2. And then he scarpered underneath the dangerous shipping containers here. So that takes us to clean up for the turn. So at the end of turn 3 there is no additional cards being played, and as we already covered, the snitch does not score because Joker made sure it didn't while he was taking a life. So that is just discarded. Poison checks were passed, the KO check was not, so Thug 3 is staying unconscious for the remainder of the game. There's not many models left on the table, it's going to be a super quick final turn. Let's jump into it. Dawn of the final day, top of battle round 4 with no cards being put into play by either side. I think another Psychopaths would have been really handy there, but didn't get it. So, who has audacity? Everyone on the table that is awake. So for the Joker crew, it's Joker himself and Gaggy, who's underneath the blue shipping container there, because Thug 3 is unconscious. And for the Batman crew, Lorita, Batman, Gordon and Merkel. So they've got the outnumbered bonus, but it is the Joker crew who has first activation, unless they want to pass, of course, but it's just going to be a last-ditch effort for grabbing any points possible. Well, Gaggy activated, he scurried under the blue shipping container, came out this side, put down just a normal suspect marker, but within distance of Lorita there, who is not really a threat because she has no ammo left, to let them in on the joke. A friendly model with Trickster trait, which he gets because he's a henchman and Joker has Chaos Agent, and that gives him places a suspect marker within 4 of an enemy model. When this happens, both players discard a card from their hand at random. The 2 points is important, so that is scored. And as an instant cheeky counterplay, Lorita is immediately removing that suspect marker to score a comb through everything, also for 2, essentially just balancing everything out. So, and can pick an additional card if they want to try and cycle the deck a little bit, but importantly, counters the point gained. And now it's over to Joker unless he wants to pass. So a little bit of a lackluster turn for the Joker. He didn't just go murder Lorita, which he could have done, honestly, for no reason. But it was more important to score points because I think every point matters here. I think it's been a pretty close game. So he moved where it was safe to put down a suspect marker. He did so and made it a stinky fish again. So it will score for 2 at the end of the round unless someone decides to go pick it up. But that's the Joker done for the entire game now. So Gordon, Merkel, Batman, let's see if they can do anything to score any points. So we can cover what the rest of the Batman crew did. Gordon arrested Thug 3 just because. I don't think there was even get them off the streets in the deck. So just because. Batman though, he went after Joker. Now he could have went down there and used his detective to remove that stinky fish to deny 2 points. And if this costs them the game, it cost them the game. He tried to be dramatic going after Joker. He efforted a full 3 times. And Joker did not, because he's scared of not having a lot of willpower obviously. Now we'll see, he did very well. He did, what is this, 9, 10? He did 10, which would be enough to knock him out. However, really huge means that the Joker ignores 3 of this and only took 7. So he has 1 willpower left and is standing on his feet. If he'd been knocked out, back to Arkham would have scored for 3. But even if Merkel moved, he could move and shoot his shotgun. He'd only have the single dice. Really huge kicks in per attack. And it doesn't say it's limited to close combat only. So literally can't do enough stun, because if he hit it would do 2, he cancels out 3. So Joker stays on his feet. Batman fails to knock him out by 1 point, which hurts, because I'm sure there could have been a way to make 1 stun stick at some point. So with that though, the turn is ending, and we might as well just go straight to the final scores. The fish does score, and if that costs Batman the game, his hubris got the better of him. I would describe these as 2 similarly sized objective decks. Let's start with the Joker then. So that is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. A little low, honestly, but 21 plays 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, hang on, 19, played 21. The fish did cost the game. That was not planned. The fish actually did cost them the game. It would have been a draw otherwise, because Joker cancelled that snitch out earlier. Yeah, if Batman had revealed the fish, denied them 2, they would have been on 15 apiece. If he'd knocked out Joker, he would have had 3 additional points from back to Arkham, which would mean they won by 1 point. So honestly, I guess it was a gamble worth taking. It was a difference between securing a draw or trying for a win and only failing by 1 stun. That's pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, that does mean 21 to 19, the Joker wins. So with that, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please do remember to leave a like and a comment. And if you want to go above and beyond to support the channel and what we do here, consider becoming a channel member or pressing the thanks button. It helps out a lot and is reinvested in the channel. Thank you again, and hopefully see you next time for something else. We'll see Deacon Blackfire on the channel sometime soon-ish. Until then, ta-ta for now.